The Amish have been doing well without ever connecting to a government water system, even though most of us are busy complaining about high water bills or worrying about broken plumbing. No bills every month, no pipelines that are hard to untangle, just old-fashioned skills and a lot of respect for nature. You might be confused about how the Amish acquire their water, and you might even break a sweat if you tried to do it the same way. They've basically figured out the best way to live. Even if we moan about growing electricity rates, these people are proof that you can live comfortably by being linked to the land instead of the grid. First, let's talk about how they receive their water. The Amish don't sit around and wait for the utility provider to fix things. They go straight to the source, which is deep down. Digging wells is one of the principal things they do. And no, it's not like those cartoon wells where you drop a bucket down a few feet. Depending on where they live, Amish wells might go hundreds of feet into the ground. And here's the kicker. They primarily dig them by hand or with tools powered by horses. No big machines or fancy drills, just hard work, expertise, and time. I once saw an Amish family dig a well, and, to be honest, they were working harder than most people do when they work out their whole bodies. It could take days or even weeks to finish one. And as they walk, they sometimes find unusual items like ancient farm tools, rusted boots, and even things from long ago. It's not always a treasure hunt, but it does make the task more interesting. It's like hitting gold when they touch water, except it's more practical. They use manual pumps to bring up the water, and sometimes they use wind-powered pumps to make things look better. Still no power, just some hard work and nature doing its thing. Taking care of these wells is a whole other problem. When something breaks, they don't call a plumber, they fix it themselves. I once heard of an Amish man who fixed a damaged well pump with components from an old bike. And you know what? It works. Now let's talk about rainwater, which most of us disregard or run away from. The Amish see rain as a gift. When it rains, they don't grab umbrellas. They grab barrels. They put very basic gutter systems on their roofs that directed the rain straight into big containers. No fancy tanks or high-tech filters, just a few barrels and some strategic placement. And here's something interesting. If your roof is roughly 1,000 square feet, a single inch of rain can provide you about 600 gallons of water. That is enough to drink, cook with, bathe with, irrigate the garden, and even make the animals happy. A family I met jokingly joked that their hens wouldn't lay eggs unless they had a spray of precipitation in the morning. Maybe the birds just like it fresh. Who knows? But gathering rainwater isn't simply for survival, it's also a community event. Families help each other set up their systems. You'll witness sisters moving barrels around while kids rush about looking for leaks. It's like a block party, but instead of firing up the grill, they're getting ready for the next rain. Their simplicity is a type of quiet genius. When there's a boil advisory, a lot of us rush to the shop to buy bottled water. The Amish, on the other hand, quietly drink clean, fresh rainwater directly from the sky. And that's the point. You don't necessarily need more money or technology to make your life better. Sometimes, all you have to do is work with nature instead of against it. You could say that the Amish are saving more than just water. They're also keeping their way of life, a life that is based on working with nature instead than against it, a life that doesn't need sophisticated technology or bills that never end. And to be honest, that's a kind of wealth that money can't purchase. It's smart to gather water from the sky, but let's be honest, even the cleanest rainfall can taste a little funny. On the way down, dust, dirt, and who knows what else catch a ride. The Amish have their own ways of cleaning water that are simple, sensible, and have been used for a long time. Let's begin with filters made of sand. It's exactly what it sounds like. Water passes through layers of sand that catch the bigger dirt and junk. It's like a coffee filter in nature, but no one is drinking it yet. Next is charcoal, which is the actual star of the show. Charcoal takes out all the things you don't want in your water, like weird flavours, odours, and small particles. Charcoal cures the taste of water that reminds you of a garden hose. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Some Amish families utilise UV light to clean their water. Yes, the same UV rays that make us wear sunscreen may kill bacteria and viruses in your drinking water. It's not exactly a sunbath for your water bottle, but it works without any chemicals. It's kind of weird when you think about it. The Amish don't need apps to keep track of their water filters. They just use some sand, charcoal, and sunshine. What do you do when everything else fails? The Amish just heat the water. Easy, right? No need for high-tech fixes. Get it to a good rolling boil, and everything hazardous will die. I tried that once when I was camping, and let's just say my fire didn't boil anything. But what about the Amish? They know how to do it. This isn't a fancy setup. It's not in style. It merely does what it says it will do. There are no filters to change and no power needed. Just layers of sand, some charcoal, and sometimes a UV purifier that works with the sun. They've been doing this for generations, long before clean water solutions became a billion-dollar industry. It's nice to know that simple approaches still work, both literally and figuratively. The Amish sit back, drink their clean, fresh water, and enjoy the fruits of their labour while the rest of us spend a lot of money on bottled water or costly filters. Let's talk about natural springs, which are one of nature's best-kept secrets. People usually think of allergies or mattresses when they hear the word spring. For the Amish, nevertheless, a spring is one of the best and cleanest places to get water. Some of these springs have been running for hundreds of years, giving people cold, mineral-rich water straight from the ground. There are no pipes, no processing, and no government involved. What is it about spring water that makes it so special? It filters itself. As the water travels through layers of soil and rock, it picks up minerals like calcium and magnesium, and traps dirt and other things. It's like having your own bottle of mineral water, but it doesn't cost $3. Springs are often very important to daily life in Amish communities. It's not a great deal to get water from them either. They can either pipe it straight from the spring or let it collect in a stone basin. After that, all you have to do is fill a jug. No problems, no worry, no power. And what does it taste like? It seems like magic to drink water that has been cold for who knows how long. It's clean. It's true. It makes you think about what water is supposed to be. Rainwater doesn't simply get filtered when it flows over rock. It also takes up minerals along the route. Nature's multivitamin has calcium, magnesium, and a little iron. The Amish receive their vitamins and minerals the old-fashioned way, straight from the ground. The rest of us spend money on supplements or electrolyte drinks. There are no plastic bottles or packaging, just genuine minerals in real water. That's probably why you'll never see an Amish person drinking a neon blue sports drink. They have the original electrolyte booster right in their backyard. It's easy to use, works, and tastes excellent. There was a story I heard about a little Amish child who thought his family's spring was wonderful. He decided to follow it up the hill to uncover the secret source, which might even be a wizard, thanks to a few fairy tales and a hyperactive imagination. He found rocks, roots, and a pretty anticlimactic finale instead. That feeling of awe still makes sense. Spring water has a particular quality that makes it feel different. It fits Amish living perfectly. It's low-tech, but high quality. Water that is clean and comes straight from the land, with no need to make things more complicated. The Amish don't just drink from springs to stay hydrated. They also do it to stay connected to the land and their way of life. But they don't just stop at springs. Community ponds are very important to many Amish villages. These ponds aren't just for looks, they're important. They are carefully placed on farms and in neighbourhoods to collect rainwater and runoff from surrounding fields. It's a clever and long-lasting solution to take care of both the water supply and extra moisture that could cause flooding or erosion. And how do you build one? The classic Amish way of life includes minimal tools, hard work, and often a team of horses. No bulldozers. No engines that run on diesel. You only need to dig, be patient, and plan well. Over time, the pond fills up on its own and becomes an important water source, especially during dry seasons when other sources may not have enough. These ponds can be used for more than one thing. Amish families use them to get water for drinking, cooking, washing, watering crops, and even watering animals. They don't use high-tech filters, but they do keep things clean. Sunlight is very important here. UV rays help clean the surface, and careful upkeep keeps the water safe. These ponds are full of life, though, not just useful things. There were ducks, frogs, minnows, and even a few turtles that were curious. Kids run around in the summer, laughing over the goldfish they find. Most of the time, they're only minnows, but to a kid, they're treasure. And that's what makes it so special. These ponds are more than just places to get water. They are centres of the community. Families get together to keep them up, pulling weeds, picking up trash, and telling stories while they work. It's not only about the quality of the water, it's about spending time together. The Amish remind us that there is another way in a world where pure water typically comes from a tap you hope is safe or worse. A truck full of plastic bottles. A better method, one that comes from nature, teamwork, and actual strength. You don't need high-tech gadgets or government-run utilities if you work with the land, like they do with their pond systems. You only need to know what you need, be part of a community, and respect what the earth offers you. And let's be honest, who wouldn't like a quiet afternoon by the water? Kids are laughing, ducks are swimming, and maybe someone is thinking about catching the big one. But how do the Amish, who love tradition, deal with the inevitable march of technology, especially when it comes to water? Well, this is where things becomes really fascinating. You would believe that Amish principles and modern technology don't go together, like using a microwave and a wood-burning stove to bake a cake. But in some way, it works. For instance, solar-powered water pumps. If you picture Amish people cranking water from a well in the fields like in an old cartoon, you're wrong. Yes, manual pumps are still useful in emergencies, and they are a fantastic workout, but a lot of Amish towns have switched to solar-powered ones. These pumps use only sunlight to extract water from deep wells. They don't use grid electricity or fossil fuels. You get clean, free energy right from the sky. It's not cheating, it's smart. The sun has always been Amish, calm, steady, and not on Instagram. And solar is just the start. Another popular choice is a gravity-fed system. Some Amish homes are atop hillsides, which is the best place for water to flow down from a spring or reservoir. No need for pumps, no power. It's just good old gravity, which has always been free and reliable. It's like a natural water slide for your plumbing, but without the pool party at the bottom. Not that you'd ever see an Amish pool party, but we can hope. The secret is in the way you think. The Amish don't just use technology, they change it to fit their needs. With care. They pick tools that match their values of simplicity, humility, and living in harmony with nature. There won't be illuminated solar panels on every roof or smart faucets in the barn. They only employ modern tools when they help them live the life they want. It's a tricky dance, like walking a tightrope between the past and the future, but they make it appear easy. To be honest, it's motivating. A lot of us are stuck with technology merely to brew coffee, such electric grinders, Wi-Fi kettles, and app-controlled mugs. The Amish, on the other hand, use low-tech but very useful systems to collect water, raise families, and run farms. And it's not always clear-cut. There are different kinds of Amish villages. One group may be able to do something that another group can't. One family might use a solar pump, while their neighbour still uses a hand pump. It's like a calm, pleasant race. It's not about who has the newest technology. It's about who can get things done with the least. A bumper sticker that says, "My other ride is a solar-powered pump," is a good way to sum it up. This way of thinking about water, mixing old and new ideas, is part of a wider idea. The Amish don't fight change just because they want to, but they don't follow trends either. They change when it makes sense, not just because it's trendy. While we're out here reading reviews for smart faucets and digital filtration systems, they're quietly building aquifer recharge systems by hand. Yes, the Amish have found a way to aid the earth by helping to replace the groundwater that they need. You may think of it as a savings account for rainfall. They use canals to carry water from rooftops, fields, and roadways down into the soil after rains. This helps to refill subsurface aquifers. This system is easy to use but quite powerful. No fancy filters. There are no pipelines buried underground, just ditches, gravel, and some know-how. And it works. When there are droughts or wells run low, studies suggest that these systems may raise groundwater levels by a lot. It's another example of Amish wisdom in action. Use less technology and more common sense. They're not simply using water, they're also taking care of it. For their children, their crops, and the people in their area. And to be honest, we could all learn something from that. If only my house could turn all that rainwater into a cool glass of water, right? The Amish get very close though. Their aquifer recharge systems are simply one element of a wider picture that is very much based on community. When you think of the Amish, you might image people working alone in the fields. That's only part of the story though. What makes the Amish strong is how they work together. And the best example of this is how they handle water projects. Want to drill a new well? Put in a rain barrel. Don't bother phoning a contractor. The people in the village come out with shovels and smiles on their faces. Instead of hammers, you use mud to build a barn, and there might be a side argument about who makes the finest apple pie. Imagine a Saturday morning in an Amish community with the sun shining. People in the neighbourhood come together to help a family dig a well. Kids are playing football on the spot. The grown-ups are telling stories, joking, and maybe even fighting about the best way to load a hay wagon. No need to hurry, no need to worry. Just work together and get to know each other better. The Amish don't merely use water as a utility. It's a lifeline that they all guard. For one household, clean water equals cleaner water for the whole neighbourhood, so they help each other out, share tools, and teach each other. Everyone's success is in one family's rain barrel. You bring your best shovel instead of potato salad, like at a potluck. And even if it's important work, it doesn't imply it's all business. If you don't help out, the next time you ask for a favour, you might get dunked in the trough as a joke. It's their way of saying, we're all in this together, and it makes things more fun. The local knowledge is much more astounding. Do you need help with sand filters? There's a guy down the street who is almost a wizard. Do you want to make a system to catch rain? Talk to the family that has been doing it for years. It's like going to college for water systems, but without the cost or classes. And there are more benefits than just having clean water. When you work together like way, you establish relationships that last even when things go rough. Bad harvest? Someone in the family is sick? The same people who helped you dig your well will come by with food, help, and a lot of kindness. This close-knit manner of life makes people both independent and dependent on one another. The Amish don't use public services. They depend on one another. They have established a very strong water system and community by doing this. The Amish remind us of something important. True connection still matters in a world when we frequently feel alone and overwhelmed. Everyone wins when neighbours help each other. And certainly, sometimes drilling a well is more than just getting water. It's about working together to make something. The Amish have mastered something that most of us can only dream about, living completely on their own. We all depend on city infrastructure, applications, and emergency alerts, but they have developed a water system that is both old and unexpectedly new. When you see an Amish village digging wells, tapping into springs, or collecting rainwater, it's like seeing a flawlessly synchronized ballet. Everyone knows what to do, and things just go well, like water flowing through a wooden spout that was built by hand. Now think about how most of us live. We hurry to convenience stores to buy bottled water, get anxious every time there is a boil advisory, and check our phones for updates on the quality of the water. The Amish, on the other hand, are drinking cool spring water that has been organically filtered through layers of rock and sand. No plastic, no chemicals, and no need to scan a barcode. Nature does its job. This isn't only about being free from city systems. It's a way of thinking that respects nature, cherishes what's already there, and honours tradition. The Amish don't throw things away. They don't use too much. They make systems that operate with nature instead than against it. Maybe we wouldn't be drowning in plastic bottles and bad habits if more people followed their example. The difference is also beautifully humorous. While we're caught in traffic, worrying about which coffee drive-through is the best, the Amish are relaxing on the porch, drinking fresh rainwater, and maybe even watching a cow play around in a kiddie pool that was filled by the last rain. Imagine a group of Amish farmers laughing as they fill up their wooden rain buckets. Meanwhile, we're all typing away on 5 delivery apps just to grab a drink. Not only is the water different, but so is the delight. The Amish don't think of gathering water as a chore. It's a time to connect. When you give your neighbour a glass of rainwater, you're not only giving them a drink, you're also sharing tales, humour, and a small bit of your life. That way, every drop is more than simply water. It stands for community, caring, and simplicity. And what about now? That could be the most refreshing thing of all.